Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a special Wolcen guide with Hellfire Mage. We're calling this Hellfire Mage, or this can be the Explosion Mage, which has a lot of varieties, which I'll go through with us. So let's open up the map, let's tweak up to the highest level, and we'll modify it so we can actually fight the boss in the special mode as well. So they can have the burn chance, they can have movement speed, they can have damage, they can have... We're going to open our Untitled. This is by far the hardest difficulty, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to display the skills as we go. I have pegged myself only to level 77, which is what level I'm currently online. So you can see the 13 points and 130 points on spent. This is Exploding Mage. So what we do is we're actually exploding enemies for their death upon... Well, when they die, their corpse explode. Also, they also explode when they drop health globe. Very interesting, and so thankful for my friend to help me with this build. Look at this damage, isn't that beautiful? And when they die, they die. I mean, they do die, but the explosion. And it's so satisfying to play this as well. So let's find those. Nope, not enough people to explode. That's unfortunate. So we're just gonna pass them. I can fight them, but you know, there's no need. When there's more of them, I actually do a ton of damage. Why am I? So there's a bunch of them, we just do the corpse explosion and they are dead. It's a pretty fast clear with random, like in contests like those. And oh, did I get to him? No, I didn't get to him. He was too far away. Okay, Untitled is coming. We'll prepare for that. Okay, I don't like this one. I want the one that can follow me. Okay. Sometimes my little cannon becomes what do you call it? Yeah, sometimes my little cannon becomes a real cannon. I have to hold it. It's not good. Okay, let's get them two together. So this one explodes onto it. Get the screen going. No one to explode onto this guy, which is not good. We're just gonna go. As you can see, the Explosion Mage is great in terms of map clear with a bunch of them. It's not that good when they don't have enough of them. When there's a lot of them, they die instantly because all the maximum HP explode and we do critical damage upon the explosion. Now let's look. A bunch of big ones, perfect. So let's wait for this to help me. Give them a chance. Oh, that's another Untitled. Let's run. It's not bad actually. I'll prepare for the Untitled so they can actually help me kill the boss. We're gonna explode them onto the boss. Oh gosh, I'm stuck here. Okay, pretty good angle. Let's see how we go. It does get a little dramatic as we fight, and I have perked myself pretty tanky, so you know when this happens, we can keep going. Untitled does have a problem because sometimes he gets us and just kills us, and then his ability to help us is gonna be, you know, delayed. Okay, taking everything now. Once I kill one, the other one should really go on low, and I just keep going. Now I want to keep him alive if I can get to the boss, but I don't think I'm getting to the boss, am I? Oh, he died. Damn, he's still alive. So now I can't really deal with one. I can deal with both of them. I actually do a lot. Oh, alive still. He killed me. So that's unfortunate. The downside of fighting Untitled here is this might happen. It is the hardest difficulty, and we can't tank him indefinitely. We need more monsters. We're just gonna kite him to the final boss. Wait for it. We can soften him up. Let's keep going. I'll try to do the full clear for us. Let those go. The moment we cast the whole combo, they go. Wait for this set. Until this coming. Each time he comes, it's actually not bad. I get a chance to soften him up. And the goal is to get to the boss with one Untitled. So this way, we're actually having someone to explode onto the boss with. The downside is it's hard to combine that, but sometimes we have to pull the boss back with more monsters. I missed it. I missed it. He didn't miss. Monster never misses. So, getting a bunch of them. My goal is to get the boss out now. Ooh. It does get a little chaotic at times, especially when there's so many things on the map. It's really up to us how do we dodge it and how do we make use of the monsters to explode them. The numbers looks great. And the damage also is great. Also lots of health globes. When I pick up health globes, I also regen my health and also get resistance for the perks that we got. So you can see FPS drops massively when this happens, because we're actually doing over 10 million damage a second over there with lots of them. We're deliberately using a lot of the willpower potions to keep our willpower high. Nothing special. We didn't perk into the high critical chance for that. And I'm always critting because of that special unique piece of armor. I really don't want to kill them now. I want to keep those alive, so we actually fight the final boss with them. Oh, nothing's from him. Got that. As long as he doesn't poke me to death like before, we should be fine. Look at this guy. Let's hope he follows us. Only thing is, I don't have a lot of survivability. Oh, sorry, mobility, because I didn't actually put into, say, a blink or something, so I just running around. It's okay if you have decent movement speed. It gets a little annoying though, because most builds usually tailor to that. Well, it's people to stand and pull, let them explode and take them. Am I untented? Where is he? Is he following me? He better be. My royal follower. Double pull. That one's... Yeah, tons of damage when they're grouped together. It is a bit of skill rotation, and I'll explain everything with us after the whole fight. So I really want to demonstrate how we're actually fighting it. I'm not fighting it the fastest, of course, because of different map density, different monsters, and different untainted we get. But I think this is a decent speed for sure. I just need to get to the boss. I need my followers. Yeah, there you go. There you go. That was 25 million, by the way. Yeah, that was a 25 million mob. I'm stacking, notice all the stacks we have? We have 6 different elements stacked. I'm not the element mage as well. I'm just the explosion mage with corpse exploding, globe exploding. Explode everything. Okay, there's a friend there. Let's see if he comes with us. Hey buddy, you coming? I need to lure them to the boss with me. I can lure the boss back with me as well. It's basically, it takes both. It takes both people. The boss should come with me, the monster should come with me. Sometimes they don't, that's the problem. The damage wise, the more the better. So, okay, this guy's alright. He's gonna charge, I reckon. Is he coming? He's coming. Okay, I got stuck. Okay, I might die here. Mistake was made. Also, my cannon turned into a real cannon there. So when you hold on to the cannon, you actually turn into a real cannon. And you actually hold on to it, which is terrible. Actually, there's 2 of them, right? I just fight. It's untainted. If there's 2 of them, I can just fight. And the boss have about 84 million HP, as you can see. Ideally, I want 3, and this just kills him super quickly. Ah, thing is happening. So 2 of them is not enough. Let's get 1 more, and all 3 of them should be enough. So notice this is a scale I've been saving. Now the biggest thing is they need to follow me. Sometimes they don't follow. He's following? Good. Oh gosh, yeah, this is no good. He followed, then he killed me. The tender points is very massive. I don't want to lose my tender points. Okay, I actually have 3 scouts there. That would have been enough. Yeah, that would have been enough for sure. Which one is the boss? The boss did not follow. Okay. Okay, this is a terrible pathway. Oh, he poked me. Oh boy. I have 10 points. I live. Oh, life steal. Perfect. Yeah, I'll have a ton of life steal. Oh, what I pressed. Oh no. Silly hotkeys. Yeah, I'm still getting used to build. We've been building this for many hours today. And let's see. This is the challenge. Moment 1 dies, everyone dies. Let's have a look. Ready for it? Almost there. And there we go. They are dead. That's the good damage. So I did die twice. One was a little careless because I rolled into it. The second one I just ran face into the monster and it charged at me. And well, 9 minutes is not the fastest, not the slowest. I've done 10 minutes before, I've done 7 minutes before. Luckily I've done like close to 6 minutes before with testing. This is the high level map though. Keep that in mind. So the highest hit damage I've achieved 76 million. So this time the highest hit we got was 30 million. So 76 million was the highest I've achieved. We'll actually post one during testing. We got a few things, so nothing too special. I did die twice. I want to show you guys the full replay so you know what's happening. Then we go through the items. Ooh, look at those items. See that? This is the offline account, by the way. You can see it from the levels. Oh, damn, that's a big productivity. What do we get? Oh, got a belt and a shield. So, where should we start? Of course, first I want to show you guys we have 130 points on spent here. We have 13 points on spent here. So this is tailored towards my level 77 online account. You can go a little lower in points, which is not that much required. And basically every point is winning to toughness. We have pretty decent status chances with about 20%, 25%, 28%. That's enough. And there is a few things that's pretty crucial in the build. You don't necessarily need them, but it's better if you have them. I'll go through the thought process with us. So let's look into the stats first. All of my points are going to toughness. This is so I have enough HP to survive, to lifesteal, and also to keep rotating to cast my spells. I don't need much wisdom or ferocity because my critical chance is actually coming from the freeze chance. So not much critical chance on the board. And what I want to show you guys is the different element choices and different defensive capacities. So firstly, we have about 68% block chance and 23% block efficiency without a shield. This is because we have the perk that give us the block chances. We also have the tenor points or the special banner points that give us block chances when we don't block. So followed by that, we have very high resistance. This is two reasons. One is I actually handcrafted those items with my friend with his help. So we actually looked for a lot of heavy armor and that gives a lot of resistance. In normal games, I don't think it's possible to get this many heavy armor with that many resistance, or you might have the resistance, you might not have the other stats. So the resistance part is definitely a highlight here. You're probably looking at a 4,000, 5,000 resistance, which would be pretty good. The resistance is not necessary, but it avoids of getting one-shotted. That means better chance of kiting and better survivability for the S rank, S plus rank. Next up, movement speed is decent just with one movement with the boots. The dodge chance, don't really worry about that. It's just 5%. It's something random. After that, let's go into the skill perks, which is going to be the highlight of this build. And we're going to go through the gears and item choices and also the perks for the skills. Firstly, this is only 77 points spent plus the 1 extra point from the expedition. So we go into the occult affliction because we'll be cursing enemies with the trial. We do have the belt, the trial here. This is not a must-have, but if you don't have the belt, you can simply try to remove one of the skills. It can be the plague burst, it can be the shout, or it can be the cannon, depending how you want to play it. To replace that, because we're using a dagger, you can replace that into this particular spell, which is the Mark of Impunity, which is the core source of the build. There's two parts of the build. The build allows us to collect monsters together, kill one and explode everything else. There's two explosion parts as well. The first one is Mark will be allowing us to explode enemies about 15% of the max health. And if you're critical on that, it's about 60% of the max health. And if enemies are looking at 100 million, 10 million, 50 million, if they all group together, they explode for 70 million, 40 million damage. Massively. Second to that, we also have another form of corpse exploding. So with the Plague Burst, we can have that when enemies die, they explode upon death, which deals massive damage. And also we have increased explosion damage for each element stacked. We know how strong the element is because you've seen Bleeding Edge. Yeah, Bleeding Edge. You've seen Bleeding Edge with the element stacks. I'm not sure how much that's calculated, but I think this does a lot of damage. I've seen 50 million monsters stacked together and they just died within a second when one small monster died. So this is actually pretty good. I'll go through all the perks after. So two forms of exploding and there's one more form of explosion. We're actually collecting health globes from the shout, which is this one, and also have perks that increase the chance of dropping health globes. If you look at the spells here, we have a bunch of spells that just spams at enemy. If your drop chance like the health globe here is pretty high, what's going to happen is it's going to rain health globes from the sky. And this particular spell anomaly is going to explode those health globes by pulling them in and exploding it. You can see the replays is health globes everywhere. I get healed as I run, and also I get resistance when I pick up health globes. So another form of explosion. Knowing that we have the trial saves 1 skill point on the skill choices, and this means 1 more skill point for variety. I went for the cannon, which means I am less dependent on the willpower potions, and I can have another source of debuff, which give us poison and bleeding with a physical damage. Of course, if you don't have the trial belt, you just replace one of those 3 spells with a mark, and that still works. So after enemy get cursed, they increase 7% damage each time they have the curse stacks. We can easily get that up to about 30%, simply because we do have different debuffs, and the trial will always get debuffed when you hit them like this. They just keep getting debuffed to max. After that, it's critical to have 2 different element stacks, because that's the core of the build. We'll be debuffing enemies with 2 additional debuffs per stack, and also will increase damage for each of the enemies with the stack we kill. You can see that during the replay we'll have about 6 different elements that will be getting damage, and that is about, how much is that? 6 times 5 times 3, 150% more damage. Yeah, this is a big factor for the damage. That's why I want to group units together as well. Next up, we only picked 1 point in this because, well, it's out of points. I'm saving 13 points because I won level too fast. So if I have more points, I'll definitely go for those. I can also go for the increased element chances. So those are the bonus ones. So I only picked 1 here. I am critical hitting a lot, so I thought, why don't I pick this one, damage over time when triggers a critical hit chance. I'm applying all of the debuffs that is possible in the game, I believe, without freeze, and because I'm doing this, one might as well make my critical damage and double the damage of the damage over time. So this is not a must-have. You can remove those 2 and get back to 2 more points. Next up, we're gonna go right into the critical chance damage, or the critical hit damage. This has been recently nerfed by 40%, and even after the nerf, the build is very strong because we have close to 70-80% critical chance, and any critical damage is a multiplier that we really want. So we're definitely still picking this even after the nerf. I wish they didn't nerf that. We also perk into the attraction for this one for 60% more element chances. That means all the debuffs we have is more chances without willpower, and also we increase the elemental chance, which in return give us more critical chance. So let me show you guys over here. This is the crucial piece of the gear. You do need this gear to run this kind of build, because you can save all the points into toughness without going to wisdom, and this gives you the highest source of attribute damage. Because this is the highest, you get 0.5% for each point. So let's have a look at my critical chance on the spells. Currently I'm sitting at critical chance 60%, and this one I'm sitting at 60%. So if I happen to remove the chest, I am sitting at 17%. So this is a difference close to 43%. I'll put this one back on, and also I can scream for high critical chance. Oh, mispressed it. Don't press it here, because what's going to happen is it's going to replace your hotkey. Let's put this back. So now if I scream, and my critical chance goes to 62%. So you don't get that much critical chance, but 60+% is pretty good. Next up, we definitely still take in the dire juncture and also the time which cannot heal, because this means we amplify our damage with status, and also we have defensive capacities. Also unlocks the double element perks. We have 10 additional perks here with elements. We have 2 here, so 30 in total. Next up, we definitely want the tender point. This is something that allows us to kite the boss and not get one-shotted most of the time. And you can see, only time I got one-shotted is I got careless. I ran into the boss head-on with this charge up ability, and he killed me right there. But if you run around or keep yourself mobile, you are looking at the first shot is 0 damage, next shot is reduced by 80%. So this is really good. If you get hit 3 times, well, that's not good, right? We're going over here for the block chances. Anything can block, and also the block efficiency. This gives us a free shield, really good. And because later we'll be perking into here for the fortress points, this gives us 50 block chances if you don't block in the next few seconds. We also took the weakness when we block, because we block quite frequently. Here, because we're a health globe exploding build, what we want to do is we actually want to consider the fact that we'll be picking up health globe for resistance. And this is one of the reasons I've been stacking resistance as well. Over here, there's also a small point for health globe regeneration. This 4% and this 6% give us more regeneration than normal, and that's why the globes rain from the sky. Next up, this is actually a little awkward because I'm actually perking a few points to here. I may find a different pathway which is shorter, but currently I really want those perks. So, the defensive perks here with the Salvation Archer and also the helmet means I can actually double the resistance on my helmet, which gives me a lot of resistance. So let's have a look over here. So I'm looking at 6,000 and 5,000. I take this off, I'm back to 4,000 and 3,000. So pretty big helmet here. And this helmet, we really want to roll double resistance on it, get close to 350 or even 400 resistance. The chest is not a big factor, simply because I don't dodge. Even if I dodge, the recovery from the chest from rogue armor is not a lot. So the only point I want here is actually for the all resistance points and also block efficiency, here just for the helmet. There may be a better way to get resistance, and maybe you don't have to go for those points, but for me it was safer to go with resistance. We spoke about getting the shield block. These 2 points give us 50% block chance after 15 seconds, and every 1.5 seconds you get more block chances. This is really good for someone who doesn't perk into block chances, who wants more HP and more resistance. So this is definitely beneficial. And while going idle, I am sitting at close to 70% block. Of course this goes lower when I block once, but still very good. And my resistance are over 60% for everything pretty much. And this is pretty much it for our skill perks. If I was going to level further, what I can do is I can consider going for the lifesteal. I can consider going for some of those perks, you know, dodge through enemies, which is really good. Because as you can see, I'm kiting without a mobility skill. And sometimes they block me. And then I need to perk this one so I can roll through them. Something that's mobile. I can also perk towards the rage power and the willpower, so I have more things, more resources to rotate. After that, I can also consider something over here, which when enemy is slowed, we can get 25% more damage. And also there's one over here, when there's only one enemy, within 7 meters we can do more damage, because we're trying to kite them. But sometimes you do get a little close, so I don't think I need that. And also I'm thinking about this perk with 30% reduction to damage, with reduction to damage when we have the full spell shield or the force shield. Downside is the shield is always going down. I can heal life because I'm life stealing. I don't life steal shield. So this is not the perk I'm likely to pick anytime soon. So what I'll do is I'll actually have a builder online. I'll have this posted onto the builder so you can see the level 77 points. I'll also share the save files offline so you can download the save files and try the build out for yourself. Next up, let's look at the skills and then we'll look at the gears. So as for the skills, the Plague Burst is a secondary corpse exploding. Because this only interacts when enemies die, this means if we get one enemy die, this helps to start the chain reaction and just instantly kills everything. You don't see its damage until someone dies, so it's critical for you to kill the first minion. You get increased effect, you get the cast location so it doesn't circle around me because I'm running away. Critical chance is not a big factor, I don't really have a good perk here. So I actually went for the exploding for dropping a globe, so it means more globe are dropped. After that, we get the chance of inflicting elements, and we'll also get the increased exploding damage for different element stacks. Because the explode when enemy die, it's likely something to do with the maximum health, and this in return give us more damage. And I do believe we critical hit on the exploding our health. So with my critical chances, which is close to 60% and also 450% critical damage after the nerf, we actually do 4.5 times enemy's maximum health at a percentage. This is the biggest source of control and damage because we'll be exploding globes here with this perk, and followed by that, want to pull enemies in, we want to be able to cast this twice, and we also want to increase direction, we also want to increase effect. This is actually pretty good. If I have better CD, I can actually run this every 6 seconds. Now I'm looking at about 7 seconds, but I don't think CD is a big factor. So every 7 seconds or 7.5 seconds, I can cast this and I can just kill everything in my sight if there's more of them. Next up, we have 2 abilities which allow us to have different debuffs. The tier of Azrael over here is Ice ability, but I actually perked it into Fire ability with this one. When converted Force into Fire, so that means we don't have the critical chance of 64%, but what we do is we get a source of fire stacks, which is really good for the damage and also damage over time. Also, there's more, more elements to debuff enemies means more attacks from different spells that uses elements. So we get the cooldown reduction. We go for this one is the conversion of damage, not for the 10% here. Here we have the damage over time, which is very good. After that, we get ailment chances, we get critical hit damage, which we're critting a lot, we get the cooldown. Similarly, let's spoke about the Solar 4 before I show the skill. So Solar 4, we get the deal damage increase over time, which is really good, increased tick rate. We want those things to cast as fast as they can and also do damage multiple times. We also crit a Nova when we crit, and because we have the freeze chance here, we're critting for a lot of times. And followed by that, critical damage. And this one, the area is static. So I do believe this is the best one to move around if you actually want to move it around. But you can, try the parts as well. So reduce initial cast time is very good. Otherwise, it takes too long to cast. Why are those chosen is because when enemies are sucked in, you want to something that's hitting them multiple times and that's proccing a lot of health globes. And also give them debuffs. So look how fast this hits. This is like 10 hits a second. This one hits like, I don't know, like 5 hits a second. So those two combined, we're looking at 15 or 20 hits a second. If my health globe drop rate is at 10%, we're looking at like 5 or like, I don't know, 10 health globes a second. I'm not multiplying them properly. I'm looking at least 2 health globe a second. Sometimes this is for 1 monster. When there's 10 monsters, I'm looking at 20 health globe a second because of the whole spamming of attacks. Next up, we have the shout. The shout here gives us more defensive, more health globe drops, and more block chance. Followed by that, we get longer duration, critical chance, we get effectiveness, and also lifesteal. I did not perk into lifesteal, and currently I don't have any lifesteal, I believe. I have 1% from somewhere. So actually I do have a lot of other percent. Oh boy, I have 6%. Where did this come from? So probably with some of my items. We'll check after. So usually I assume we don't have any lifesteal. So by screaming, we not only get resistance, we get lifesteal. That means when I get stuck in a hard place, I just scream because they're surrounding me. I get tons of defense, I get resist, I get lifesteal, and I don't die for a while. Then I can roll outside, I'll just run further. Last up, this is definitely optional, and I thought this is a great way to debuff enemies because longer duration, get another cannon. This one we get the ailment chances, this one we get another torrent. After this auto targets, and lastly this reduce cooldown. So what this allows us to do is, this allows us to have a rage spender. So, we'll be spending a lot of willpower, and by having rage spender, we actually convert rage back very quickly. And because those are easily dropped and it stays for a while, this can actually, debuff enemy twice, and it costs 328 rage, which is actually really good fast because we have such a good conversion rate. Now, if you happen to don't have the skill stop for this one as a rage conversion to willpower, just use your potions. Your potions are looking at 2,500 each of those, and if you use them correctly, you shouldn't run out of them, unless you really spammed hard. But if you do run out of them, we have a solution on the items. So let's get into the items. There are 2 crucial items. One is a must-have for the build, the other one is optional. The must-have is definitely the Force Wave. This allows us to convert freeze chances into the critical chance, and this is a very powerful item. People have easily stacked it up to close to 80 or 100% critical chance. I think this may be one of the reasons the critical damage was nerfed. But before the nerf, I didn't feel much of how good this was. Until the nerf, I've been looking around, I realized how good this was, but this is after the nerf, still very powerful. We all know how good the trial is because it allows you to not have the mark of impunity on the skill tree, and you can still use it. You auto cast it, and you also auto cast it with all the perks imbued. So you don't need to have it here, you just have to perk it out and you will auto cast it. The perks allows you to spread around enemies, allows you to explode enemies for the maximum HP, which can critical, I believe. Also give them curse stacks and also increase damage taken. So this is a very powerful skill, but if you happen to not have it, just grab it here. And when you group them together, you just cast once. You just click once and that's all. That's why I pick a dagger, because dagger allows us to do the shout, allows us to do the mark of impunity. If I have the belt, the dagger is optional. An axe, a dagger, a sword that is one-handed will still work. After that, let's look into the choice of the weapons and the offhand. The weapons, we want to look for elemental alignment chances or elemental ailment chances. Notice we have 312%. This is the biggest factor. Everything else is kind of optional. Critical chances, critical damage is good. The rend damage and toxic damage does not do anything here because it only helps the cannon, and the cannon don't do much. It's just here to debuff. Of course, having the rain damage and toxic damage means we guarantee we have 2 different debuffs on it, but it's not the game changer. The biggest factor is having the ailment chances. So what that means is, let's see, if I'm looking at about 60% critical chance, if I take the dagger off, I'm currently looking at, where am I? Oof. Is this my critical? Oh no, this doesn't work because the dagger is the one that controls the freeze spells. If the spell is no longer freeze, it doesn't show the correct critical chances. So I believe the 300% ailment chances here increase our critical chance by at least 7%. So it's a pretty big factor. After that, similarly, we'll be looking at an offhand for at least 250 or even 300 elemental ailment chances. Because the higher the freeze chance is coming from the elemental, the higher the critical chance. So it's looping back to itself. Elemental give us freeze chance give us the critical chance with the armor here. And of course, you do want spell leech to damage if you can, and critical damage. We happen to get the spell damage as well, which is a really good roll on this particular catalyst, only level 90. This is offline, so I've been crafting with lots of materials to get this one. Now, as for the catalyst, it is optional to get spell damage, optional to get life leech, optional for the critical damage. You just need ailment chances for the critical damage. But of course, if you get at least 2 or 3 of those, that's really good. This is where the big damage comes in as well, right? Next up, we have the rings. There isn't that much to look for the rings, I feel. I didn't really find the best rings. I just went for critical damage, a bit of occult damage, critical hit damage. So basically this ring gave me 50% critical damage, and that's all. Everything else is kind of suboptimal. I didn't really roll for the rings. I thought I rolled for a few other items. I just leave the rings as it is. So just think of the rings as something that boosts critical damage, and also something that can give you more HP, more ailment chances, which is elemental by the way, not occult, and also sometimes more regen with the willpower. Similarly here as well. So basically a duplicated ring that's almost the same. 50% critical chance damage and a bit of the random damage. Occult damage is not a must-have because damage is coming from different sources, and there is there's the plague burst, there is anomaly, there is also a bunch of source of damage. So you can see frost, lightning, adder. Only adder is affected here. As for the rings, we spoke earlier about getting willpower regen, and if you don't have your potions and your other willpower, the solution here is to have 2 sockets that actually give you willpower. Those sockets allows you to have willpower regen, and you can find them. Where are they? Here you go. So you can find them on the tier 12 with the raw anthenist, with the support 2 for 25 willpower regen. So with 2 of them you get 50 regen, and if you happen to have 37% more regeneration, you kind of multiply them to close to 100 per second. This does help. So that's something nice for the ring. And of course the catalyst had 3 transfer time reduction, and also the amulet here has 1 transfer time reduction. So we have 4 transfer time reduction and 2 rings for the regen of willpower. You can swap them around if you feel you don't need that much transfer. For the amulet, nothing too special. Because I felt I had enough damage and I'm kiting around, I went for resistance, material, health and critical damage. Not the best amulet you can see. You might be able to get more spell damage, maybe you're able to get more critical chances, higher HP and more resistance. So this is still a level 90 amulet. Next up, the style of the show. We spoke about this one. This is a must-have, I think, for the build, and this allows you to have the critical chance. If you don't have this one, you will be more durable if you have a chest armor that's all resist, like this one. It definitely makes you more durable. You can see that my resistance goes to 9,000, 8,000. The downside is you won't do as much damage. So it is a trade-off. You can still go the resistance gear, and because of that, your damage wise will be much lower. You don't quit as much. For the helmet, it has to be heavy helmet, and you ideally want to look for the double resistance. One is a flat number. See, you can see the 72 for this gear, and the other one is a percentage, 79%. If you find those 2 and you happen to find critical chance, or if you find critical damage, or if you find cooldown, that's really good. I prefer the cooldown, which allows me to rotate my skills more often and get things out. This is only rotation. Everything else I don't need a cooldown. I only need cooldown for this one. So it's not #1 factor, but it helps. Next up, the pens. So I didn't roll much for the pens. The critical chance, ailment chance means a lot of critical damage actually, critical chances, and also the cooldown is not bad. The acute damage can be replaced by something with the raw stats, which gives more damage overall. So if you happen to have 80%, if you happen to have 80 toughness, which will give us 40% more damage over here. So this is definitely better than the 42% OQ chance. So if you look at my critical chance, currently I'm sitting at 60%. If I take the pence off, I should be sitting at 53%. So the pence itself gave me 7% critical chance. One from the critical chance score, the other one from ailment chance score. Ailment means more freeze chances, and that in return gave us more critical chance. Next up, we have the gloves and we have the shoulders. The gloves are basically doubled up items. I just crafted one of them and just copy pasted the other file for 2 of them. Because I think resistance is a good alternative source of defense capacities, I went for the similar combos with the helmet. So I went for the flat resistance and also the all resistance. After that, if I'm lucky for toughness, that's great. If I don't get it, anything else can work. So resistance is the biggest part. We can always perk for more toughness with other gears or with just, with the attributes here. So those are optional. So if you happen to get toughness, double resistance, that's really good. You do want to look for the heavy piece of gear. So notice the shoulders are heavy, the gloves are heavy, and also you want the heavy pants and heavy shoes. I didn't go for those because I don't think I need to craft all of them, but everything should be heavy except the chest armor. This gives you the highest chance of rolling for resistance. So you can see this is the same one over here, and similarly over here you can see higher resistance, percentage resistance, and also toughness. So overall, the theory of the build is that you'll be running around and you see a bunch of monsters, you control them and catch them with an anomaly, which does the major source of damage. After they're grouped together, you call the hellfire from the sky. It basically called different fires, the holy fire and also the fire of ice, rings of fire. So basically it's no longer ice, it's actually a ring of fire. You call those down to induce the health globes, and because of that, enemies are dragged in, they're getting almost killed very quickly, and you follow up with a plague burst, which allows you to corpse explosion pretty much. Because passively with the trial that applies the mark of impunity over here, the mark actually also gives you another source of corpse exploding, and this is the biggest source of amplified damage. So with spreading and with exploding, you have double explosion, you're killing enemy very quickly, and you can see when I group them, they just die very quickly. While this is going, enemies are controlled, I'm actually free to cast my next spell. I'll be casting my shout to get myself defensive, offensive, and also life leech. And while this is happening, I'll be running around, I'll be casting my auto turret. This is to spend my rage, because my rage is getting too high and I need to get rid of it. And with enough conversion time, my rage comes back very quickly. Of course, you can try to build the build more mobile with a blink, but the blink does spend willpower into rage. So it's your choice. If you want to go more mobile, take this away to go with a blink, then you have to be careful with the willpower. But if you want to spend more willpower and get more debuffs, then definitely consider getting an auto turret. One small trick though, or one small tip, because I was trying the auto turret and auto turret was actually killing me, literally. So if you hold on to the auto turret, the character actually holds on to the auto turret. It doesn't let it go, and your character's stuck here. I can't even move. So never hold on to the auto turret. If you don't hold on to it, it just drops one. They just drop one, you can keep moving. But if you hold on to it, it becomes a death trap. Because boss is casting, I'm like, why am I not moving? Because I'm like stuck here like Arnold's first finger style and shooting cannons by myself. No. Who came up with this idea, right? I died so many times testing while this is happening. So if you hold on to it, you actually hold the cannon. I was like, what? So here's the build. Lots of replays you can show. I had a whole run. I actually posted a few test replays. I think the build is good enough to share, and I think we can definitely enjoy it in the patch because, we want something that's different from Bleeding Edge. This is very mobile. It's very fun to kite things around. Not the fastest, but very, very entertaining because you see big numbers. Your FPS kind of drops, by the way, and you just get lots of fun out of it. You're quitting, you're running, you're chasing. You do die, but that's okay because there's no hardcore, right? And yeah. Very lovely build. Let me know what you guys think, and if you want to support me further, please subscribe and like the video, and also consider subscribing onto Twitch with your Twitch Prime. That will help me a lot. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll be working on other builds as well, but most of them are not as good as this one, so I really looked into help with my friend. He helped me a lot with this build in terms of item crafting, in terms of adjustments, and we also had the Twitch chat to help me with getting the plague burst. So that's the final piece. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I'll be making more builds and guides for Wolcen to come with new patches, new tips, and everything with Wolcen related. We're going to ARPG a lot deeper. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you guys next time.